And let's hope that everything works. And if everything works, then we're doing well. Camera is fine. Audio is maybe fine. You guys are going to have to know how the microphone is sounding because I've changed things up a little bit. I'm using the one that is inbuilt on the laptop. But yeah, hope we're all doing very, very well. It's a very, very quick stream to talk about Max Vuba and the comments that he made after Austria's match yesterday, I want to say, maybe, in a post-match interview. And I'll hop through the comments in a couple of minutes or so. But I'm just going to discuss the sort of general bits first before we dive into everything further. But before I do so, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. That will put a decent amount into the Leeds Creator Cup pot going towards Prostate Cancer UK. In addition to that, I'm doing the Gary Speedwalk starting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in Newcastle. We're setting off from Elland Road about 5:30 in the morning. It's going to be ridiculous. And if you are able to give anything, that would be fantastic. The link is down below in the description. I think it's the top one, but I'm not entirely certain. Anyway, let's get through the basics of this first before we have a little bit of a natter. So, Max Vuba is, in theory, almost definitely leaving the club. This is already known. We're all aware of this. Max Vuba sticking around has seemed an impossibility for a fairly long time now because last season didn't really play at all, which is understandable. We had better players. If it was at left back, then we had Junior Firpo in front of him. If it was at centre back, Ampadu and Strauch are both better centre backs, in my opinion, than Max Vuba is. So Vuba, therefore, has a few feelings about that, which we all sort of assumed would be the case. Specifically, after his match for Austria, he said, Leeds has already made it clear to me they want to sell me. I'm glad we're being clear about that. Whether that is from the fan side or whether that's from the club side, probably the club side. Having certainty around that is definitely a pretty damn good start. But he follows up. I was pleased I was able to show other clubs during his Austria duty when he was actually playing football that I'm fit and I don't want to just rot away in England. Now, this is a sort of double-edged sword. So it shows that he isn't happy with the situation at Leeds United. Admittedly, in my opinion, that's because he's not strictly good enough. But if he has a higher opinion of himself, then sure, that's up to him. He can do whatever he wants with that. The little sort of sneaking hint of feeling that I get around this is that it's a sign that we can maybe pay attention to as a club as well. We can. Sorry, I'm just quickly checking the rough battery on my watch. The thing that we can pay attention to here is the fact that a player that isn't playing much football wants to move on if he's unable to keep playing football because he'll want to impress, because he'll want the opportunity to play a bit of football before next season, because big old World Cup in America is going to be one of the biggest footballing events for quite a while. It's going to be big marketing style, big income style for the players themselves. He's going to want to be there. You only get there by playing football, and that is also going to be the case for all of the other players. Like, if you're looking at players that are of Premier League standard, odds are they can, in the next year or so, find their way into their national team. Unless they are like French, it's going to be a pretty hard job. Spanish, pretty tough job. Same for Brazil. The majority of countries, there is a place open for them on the plane. And there are more teams at this next World Cup than any World Cup before. I think it's a 48 team one, if I remember right. But I'm not 100% certain. I'm going to have to check on that. But this is a sign to me that A, Vuba wants to force his way out, but B, there's going to be similar players all around that want to do the same thing. We've seen similar with potentially us signing Rodrigo Muniz, which was mentioned yesterday. I've seen afterwards, by the way, that the microphone that I was using for that one was apparently not very good. I will still watch that back and work it out, but if not, I can always just use a phone microphone. It's fine. I will do something like that just to make sure that I actually get stuff out over the next few days. But yeah, on the Max Vuba thing, I think what we're likely to earn for him is probably in the 8 to 10 million pound range. That seems to be roughly what you get for a player that is like Premier League bench worthy, and I think that's his sort of level. I don't think he was good enough to start for us last season. I don't know if he will be good enough to start for us next season because we're looking on building anyway, and he wasn't good enough in the past. And yeah, I understand it from his perspective. I understand it from our perspective as well. Yeah, I think I agree roughly with what Paul said here, right? This is the first of the comments that I've checked. I'll do a like commenty dive in a few minutes time. But this being the first comment that I've seen properly and had a read through. Next season we need players that want to be at Leeds United, that aren't just saying, I want to play top tier football and I don't care where, because that's how you get Jack Harrison. And if we were to have a Max Vuba, make him a significant part of the squad or something along those lines and then get relegated anyway, then what's to stop him leaving again in the same way that he did for the first season? And admittedly, he stuck around last season, but he didn't impress enough to get into the squad. So I don't see too much of a loss to our squad depth. Point one. Point two, I will be completely honest with you. I don't reckon he's good enough to start in the Premier League. He wasn't good enough in the Championship and all that kind of stuff. And point C or three, I've forgotten whether I was going A, B, C, or one, two, three. We can just use those funds to sign someone else. So Elvedi would be roughly the same price point as a Max Wober. Interestingly, Wober has played at Gladbach, which means that there's already a link there, which means that it could all kind of work out. You never know. But we will have to see. Anyway, that's the basics of the situation. Max Vuba doesn't want to be at Leeds, trying to force an exit. Leeds don't particularly want Max Vuba, trying to force him to exit, and it's about finding him a buyer. I think we'll be able to. I feel like someone like a Gladbach is probably our best option for this, but it's always a little bit difficult to tell, isn't it? But yeah, the general gist, as someone commented yesterday, wondering why it took so long to do a half an hour stream to get a single bit of news out. In this specific case, 7 minutes. I'm not going to end the stream. I'm just going to have a bit of a natter. But if you're just here for the news, then you can nip off if you like. But we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about what it all means, what it means going forwards. And I hope that you stick around for that because that would be absolutely lovely. I am going to shill both the video. If you haven't liked it yet, please do so. Helps it get pushed out a little bit. Make sure that more people see it. And it makes sure that more people see the channel. And the more people that subscribe to the channel, the more money gets donated to Prostate Cancer UK for the Creator Cup. So that would also be lovely. But yeah, I don't mind this. Him leaving is fine by me, to be fair. I don't think he's particularly good enough. Leighton of Leeds says, I think he's one of the only players in this window where I've seen most Leeds fans in agreement, and I believe most people are respectfully expecting or wanting a sale. Yeah, I think for us right now, the money is more valuable than the player, which is a weird position to be in when you're considering like an Austria international that plays relatively consistently for them. But it makes sense because I don't necessarily believe that he is good enough to play at a Premier League level. The Bundesliga below like the very top teams is a slightly lower level than the Premier League, so that might be why he looked fairly impressive when he played over there. Similarly, the French league not the best in terms of average quality of team in the division. I think the Premier League's at the top, and then the rest of the divisions are just a little bit lower. But you never know. As Danny says, please donate to Andy's Man Club and please get tickets or donate to the Creator Cup. The links are in the description, which you can just hop down there and you can just boop on them. And I've made it as easy as I possibly can. Andy's Man Club genuinely do a hell of a lot of good. Uh, Matty from Imagine Not Being Leeds has also done a charity single for Andy's Man Club. So if you fancy, head over to his channel and I believe you can A, watch it, which would be very, very nice, but B, he's got a link to buy the single and all of the revenue from that is going to Andy's Man Club as well. So very, very, very good cause. I would recommend doing so because it'd just be very, very nice. If Leeds want Alvedi, why not swap players? I imagine there's a few reasons, right? So one, it can complicate PSR a bit because in theory, you've got the value of an asset is held in the fee that you pay for them. That's why amortization works, because it breaks down what the fee is over an extended period of time. but at the same time, we wouldn't make anything for WOBER on PSR. So I don't know whether it would technically count as a win for us, or it would eat into the PSR budget. Someone that knows more about finance than me would likely be able to help with that, but I'm not the kind of person to answer that question. Let's just keep getting money in. Vuba Harrison, it adds up and gives more to spend on the players we want. Yeah, this is sort of it. Like, we don't want Vuba. Vuba does not want to be here. So it just kind of makes sense to do a sale. It's just a question of where to. It's not going to be Ben Davies because he has extended his contract at Spurs to have another year on it. So that move has just become almost entirely unfeasible and not going to happen. But I don't hate that too much. I was never too into the Ben Davies links. I don't know whether it's me having like a bit of a stupid bias, but he's never really grabbed me as a player. He's never held my attention, which is a bit of a shame because I imagine he's a nice guy. But I can read, right? And you don't have to be here. I do respect your choice of name, but you don't have to be in the like if I waffle on too much, right? And this is gonna it's gonna blow your mind. There are so many buttons on the screen. In fact, I'm gonna open a YouTube tab right now. And it's gonna be a YouTube tab that has my own stream on it. Not because I want to watch my own stream, but because I'm just using it as an example. So if I just quickly search Joe Blackburn, there we go. And then Vuba forcing exit, yeah, okay. And then if I hide the chat, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 11 different buttons that you can press to not be on this stream if you think I'm waffling on too much. So you could press any of those, and that's fine. That's your choice, and I don't mind. Or you can bitch in the chat. I mean, you can do both if you want. Like, that's completely fine by me. Engagement is really helpful for me, so go for it. But I don't understand. Like, just don't be here, man. This is your choice. It's not like I've sent the fucking Gestapo around and just like, you will watch the stream. You'll watch every second of it, even if he's yapping and talking about buttons on a YouTube screen. Watch that video, bang. It's not what's happening. Like, come on. The walk hasn't started yet. Today I worked, basically. I started work a little bit before 8. It finished at about 20 past 3, maybe. It overran, basically. And now I'm here. But the walk starts tomorrow because I didn't have time to get over to Leeds after work today. So it was easier for me to be in Leeds for this, and then all adds up. Swaps don't happen. That's why the Grey and Rodan deals were entirely separate. This is why I think it's PSR linked. You don't really see swap deals anymore. It would be, but the sources are very wobbly, so I'm not completely certain. Hope we get that pack slow stuff. I'm gonna need context on this one then. I'm gonna need some details. What? Sorry? I don't know. What I've got instead, right, I'm gonna put this down. I am, however, sat in a bed, but what I am wearing is, if it shows it, my Leeds Creator Cup hoodie. There we go. And then if you go to back4.shop, you can get yourself a Creator Cup hoodie. My feet were cold. That's why I'm under the duvet. But you can get yourself a Leeds Creator Cup hoodie. I don't know how much it costs. I've forgotten, but all of the profits for it go directly to the charity match, so Prostate Cancer UK. And that's real good. And it makes sure that we're able to raise a hell of a lot for a very good cause. And I'm not even kidding. If I just give it a little bit of a feel with my fingers. Oh, it's so cozy. It's so comfy. I like it. As long as Vuba's wanting to go and us wanting rid doesn't leave us liable to a low ball offer. This is a good point. I didn't consider this part. What's his contract looking like? He can't have too long left. 2 years, I think. So it's not like he's got the most value tied up in him anyway. But yeah, I don't think we'll get lowballed. I think his book value was something like 4 million. And anything over that becomes profit, which is completely fine by me. That's plenty for a player that isn't going to play. But would have liked Davis. He probably never wanted to be just depth, though. The thing is, would he be just depth? I don't know. It's a little bit odd. Um, oh, pie shout. That's quite good. Paxo. That right? Okay, I like it. Ow! Don't show Don't show too much. That's for the OnlyFans. It's for the OnlyFans or the YouTube members. You can be a YouTube member if you want as well. It's $2.99 a month, and you get a bunch of videos and stuff early, including, I think, some of the walk vlogs that I'm gonna start recording at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow, which feels too early to be recording a vlog. If anything, I'm gonna start recording before that because I need to be at Elland Road for 5:30. Oh, shitting hell, this is gonna be a long. This is gonna be a long Monday, man. This is gonna be a long day. Oh, oh no, no. Yeah, he dropped in for one message, as far as I can tell. After calling me a yapper, which is kind of like, fair play. You've done the opposite of yapping, so well done. You've popped in one message, Bosch. So at least he's sticking with his philosophy, you know. Never seemed happy this season at Leeds. Not sure why he came back last season. I'm sure he could have stayed on his relegation loan clause. He could have stayed on the loan clause somewhere. It's just a question of if Gladbach actually wanted him back, which is a bit of a question mark. It's not the most certain thing. What walking shoe brand am I using? So I've got 2 pairs because I've learned from previous walks that it is good to have more than 1 pair of walking shoes. Because if you only have 1 pair, then you are walking on the same insoles constantly, and it means that if you're on a pavement, for example, it's the same bit of your foot every time that's taking the pressure, which means that that's where you get blisters. Um, so I've got a pair of Reebok ones that I used for the Square Balls walk last time out, which was 92 miles in 4 days, but I used them for 2 of the days because I found it easier to sort of. I got 2 of the same pair of shoe, but one of them with different insoles. Um, and the other pair that I've got are Ultras, which are hopefully quite good. They've got a nice big toe box on them, so it should be quite nice, quite comfy, quite cozy. Um, imagine, imagine. No, that might have killed me, especially considering that I think 2 of the days this time are marathons. You don't have to run them, just to be clear, but it's marathon distance. Do I have to give money to my own brother? No, but you have to give it to charity. There we go. That's a nice little workaround. Vuba was playing for Austria yesterday, and Austria's winning world qualification win over Romania. Yes, this was the match in which he made the comments what he made. A lot of people aren't too bothered about because he's sort of like, I don't want to rot on the bench. Be better then. Like that's it's not. It's not that hard. You don't need to be here. Just like Indian Joe 53 didn't need to be here earlier. No loss. He's a waste of space. Walked out on us once, so not surprised. We want rid. He's not much good anyway. Get rid. You are being very thorough in your opinions on Max Vuba, and I respect that. I respect people that have their opinions in a strong manner. 1 second. I've got to jank my watch about. You ever get the moment where you're like, I don't know whether because it's the first time I've had a smartwatch, and I got it for the mainly charity walk purposes to be like, okay, I'm going to track steps and everything. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing healthy with the heart rate tracking and everything. Um, has anyone else ever been in a spot where they're like, I'm not convinced this watch is tracking my pulse right? Because, like, earlier on, I looked down and it was like 52, And I'm fairly sure that that's not the right resting pulse rate for a person. I thought you meant to vibe at around 70. But yeah, I looked at it and I was like, um, is that a healthy number? I don't know. It's the game of, is it poor circulation or is it a good pulse rate? Yours says 56. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Or are you smart for being able to read the time? Bosh. You see, that's the thing. Compliment your viewers and they will compliment your soul. And they'll do it through the form of dropping a like on the stream. That one was smooth. You've got, come on, that one was smooth. You go, it's fine. No, it wasn't. And also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, because that effectively gives money to Prostate Cancer UK, because I'm donating 1p for each subscriber to Prostate Cancer UK at full time in the charity match. And I'm going to get the commentators to say that as well, because if the commentators are reminding people, then the thing happens and then it all works out. Where were we in the stream? The squad clearing on the old Prem wages. Lowballing is relevant. We need rid of Vuba Harrison, Gilhart, and Greenwood. Yeah, Greenwood's wages still surprise me. Like the fact that they're hanging out at like 30 grand a week. I doubt, why are you on that much? Like Gelhart, I kind of understand. Like 15k a week for a young upcoming prospect that at the time we thought was breaking his way into the first team. That's okay. Greenwood was never quite in that position. So it's weird. I don't know. Okay, yours is 56. Mine is, I'm currently at, not to flex, 54. Although earlier on I was vibing at about 70 something because I was in sort of the bouncy bit of the Indian jaw chunk, in which I was like, ha ha ha, no one's holding a gun to your head to stick around. But who knows? Since then he's been very silent, so maybe the Secret Service officer that I sent around to deal with him has finally. Because that's what we can do. Us YouTubers, we have secret police forces that just sort of get sent around to like end chatters that we don't like. So if you yap too much, you're gone. In the same way that Sean Healy, and I'm gonna do a shill for a channel that isn't me, is gonna have a segment on Only Leeds Bros White's Wake Up from now on, which is gonna be quite fun. I think it's maybe gonna be a fun segment. It's maybe gonna be absolutely horrible. And it's more likely gonna be absolutely horrible than it is gonna be fantastic. But you know what? We love a bit of chaos. Chaos is the way that YouTube works, and I've got something in my fucking eye. Ow! God, that hurts. Okay, we're good. Anyway, we'll see if any of the newsy bits. I wouldn't get an Apple Watch. I'll be completely honest with you. This might be the fact that I do not Apple product, but they are firmly, firmly overpriced on all of their stuff. Like Apple is not for me. Bit of fun. Have some funny ideas coming soon. Are they funny ideas, or are they ideas that you think are funny? That's the question. Because they're different things. They're completely different things. Because I've seen you in enough chats to know that your thought of funny isn't the same as society's thought of funny. So we'll find out how that goes. Is it the Samsung one? No, it's the Google Pixel one. Because I've got a Google Pixel phone, and I thought it would be easiest if I were to sort of phone, watch, and then they're stuck together inexplicably. Got a love letter to Tanaka. Jesus. No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Because now at least we're safe in the knowledge, knowing that we will never hear what that love letter to Tanaka contains, because Sean Healy can't read. So we're safe. We're okay. I think we can get to the dizzy heights of 14th next season, as Spurs scum and the other two that came up are not going to be very good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do if we start well. I think, and it's not the most fortunate of things. It's not like the happiest of things to say, but if we're being completely honest with ourselves, our season will completely be decided by what happens in the summer window. Like, it does not matter, as many people, including, and it's useful to have him in the chat right now, Sean Healy. Anyone that wanted Daniel Farker gone at any point last season hasn't quite realised that regardless of who is managing us at the start of the season, if we get the next 2 months wrong, then we're screwed. Get it right, and we are set. Get it right, and we are good for the next couple of years. But screw it up, and we're in a bad position. And I think we need to be a little bit careful with that. But if we make the right signings, still Angela Sack right. Okay. I got a very important question for you, Sean. Right, this is a very, very important question. Do you think that conceding a lot of goals will help us? Because that's what Ange teams tend to do. Like, constantly. They are a very open side, and as much as you might point to, like, Bielsa did the same thing. Yeah, but and this is saying I like Ange Postecoglou. If we were an established Premier League side right now, I'd think it'd be quite nice if we could sign him. I think that he's not Bielsa. Bielsa was like a special manager. Postecoglou is good, but he's not that same level. And I don't know if he can elevate players in the same way that Bielsa did. And we've seen that, like, he always wins things in his second year, and his third year is always better than his second. That doesn't matter, because what matters is the first year, the year in which he would need to stay up. And you don't get two goes at that, because with Spurs, they're never getting relegated. Let's be completely honest with ourselves here. That doesn't happen ever, unless things go really bad. So you've always got a second go there. But at Leeds, you'd get relegated. And sure, he'd win something in his second season, but that something is the Championship, which feels like it's not really the same win to me. We didn't have Bielsa and Anges won a major European trophy. How many did Bielsa win and we all of them? Hang on a minute. At what point did Marcelo Bielsa manage a club with the budget of Spurs? Because I hate this term. I despise it because it's a stupid term. But there's kind of levels to it. There's kind of levels to, like, Spurs' budget, winning the Europa League. A good equivalent would be his time at Athletic Bilbao, right? In which he got them to a Europa League final. You know the difference between Bilbao and Spurs? Bilbao cannot sign anyone that isn't Basque, which means that in a region which I think it might be smaller than Yorkshire if you're combining all of the four ridings together. In a region smaller than Yorkshire, he's pulled together a squad that is good enough to get to the Europa League final. Meanwhile, Spurs spent £40 million on Harry Gray. That's the difference. Hang on. No disrespect, I love Ange for winning that trophy, but if you honestly think nearly relegating a team who finished top 6 in 18 of the last 21 seasons, you want that at Leeds to be real people. Yeah, that's the thing, I don't, but Sean Healy is incredibly good at baiting people. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'll lean into it, and I'll start responding to him. Thomas Frank going to Spurs does not help Brentford, give us a chance to pull them in. I think so, yeah. So losing Frank and Mbeumo in one season is potentially going to screw them up. I don't know whether or not that will happen, but I can hope. That's where the optimism is. The optimism is in Brentford get completely shafted by losing some significant players. In fact, okay, I'm going to wait until someone else is doing a stream, right? Might wait until Joe is doing a stream. And I'm just going to drop in the chat. It's going to be a nice little casual drop in the chat. Hey, remember that time that Sean Healy said that Ange was a better manager than Marcelo Bielsa? And everyone else that is in this chat right now can back me up on that because he was like, where's Marcelo Bielsa's European title? Where's Ange Postecoglou's job? Is the counterpoint. Anyway, I'm not going to stream for too much longer, but if anyone has any questions surrounding the Vuba stuff, surrounding anything else, you'll come in my direction, and I will happily talk over the next couple of them before I get ready to have something to eat, finish packing for tomorrow, and then the nightmare begins. 120 miles in 5 days. You implied it, and because we live in the age of the internet, I can just make shit up, and you're gonna have to. That one's on you. It's like everyone that was saying that I backed Melier to the end. I didn't. After the whole match, I was like, yeah, we can chuck him to one side for now. It might have been before that. Might have been Sunderland, and then he kept getting picked after that. Because it's after Sunderland, I was like, I'd give Darlow a shot now, and then it was the whole match, and I was like, okay, I think Elan can say goodbye a little bit. But by that logic, since I backed Illan Meslier all the way to the end, apparently, you hate Marcelo Bielsa, want to mail him a grenade, and think Ange Postecoglou is a better manager. So there we go. Where are we? Hi, Jibri. In a brief, what did I miss? Max Vuba on Austria duty in a post-match interview said, and I'm going to find the words again, if I can find the words again. Leeds has already made it clear that they want to sell me. I was pleased that I was able to show other clubs during Austria duty that I'm fit and I don't just want to rot away in England, is what he said. So that means Voba very, very probably leaving, very probably to somewhere else because it's specifically saying I don't want to rot away in England. It's very specific and it kind of makes other English sides go, okay, that's a bit rude, whatever. But we'll see. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that stream to a close. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on it. That's massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're not yet. Again, any subscribers that I have at the time of the end of the charity match on the 20th of July, I'll be donating 1p per subscriber to Prostate Cancer UK. So it'd be fantastic if you'd be able to do so. You could become a channel member if you want as well. It's £2.99 a month. And you get a bunch of videos and stuff early, which would be nice. And all of my YouTube channel revenue right now is going towards funding Creator Cup stuff anyway. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Streams and videos may be a little bit interspersed for a while now due to the charity walk, but I will do my best to keep up with you. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.